Hi, this is Mike Griggs for 3D World magazine, and I am just going to show you how to create Ivy using IvyGen, which is a free standalone application which is also available for Blender and 3D Studio Max. And here is the web address. We have the web address in our accompanying article in the current 3D World magazine. So how do we create this Ivy? Well, what we do, I'm in Cinema 4D here, and here I have just a simple scene. I'll just switch off my composition helper. We've got just a basic 3D mesh, which I have downloaded, and my sculpture. If you just look at the wireframe, everything in here is triangulated. So if I just switch that to hidden line, yeah, you can see everything, including on the mesh, is absolutely triangulated. This is important because an Ivy generator, or IvyGen as I'm going to call it from now on, requires this for its growing procedure. So we just export the entire scene as an OBJ. That's great. And just make sure we don't have anything like our Z-axis flipped. So if we go to the Ivy generator program, we can import our OBJ, and I'll just go and find my IvyGen. There we go. Let's give it a second. And there we go. Okay, so it's left mouse button to drag, and with control pressed, control to drag, and left mouse button to rotate. So control and left mouse button, and then there's a way to zoom, and yep, right mouse button to zoom. I'm not used to using this specific mouse, so apologies for that. Okay, so now that we see our mesh, how do we start to grow our Ivy? Well, what we need to do is find a specific point that we like. So I'm going to, there we go. I'm going to say choose at the back of the statue here, and I double click, and that creates a green dot, and then I just press grow. And as you can see, these little blue lines are the paths of the Ivy as it goes around, and as you can see, just pause that and rotate. You can see that it is starting to grow around the mesh. Now you can alter these parameters as you want and stop and start the grow, but if you don't, you need to reset this entire process if you wish to begin from scratch again. There is no reset on this. I find that switching the gravity weight up can create some good effects. Okay, so let's just leave it there and say that I'm happy with how this has worked. So I'm happy enough with that. So now I need to press birth, and as you can see, we get to see our Ivy. It might not be so great round the face. Apologies again, not used to this mouse. It might be okay just around here. But the good thing with the birth is that this is editable within the actual application. So we can just, oh, a bit too little. Press on that. Oh, a nice garland of Ivy. So I'm happy with that. So now I want to get that back out. So I'm going to export the Ivy geometry and just call this Ivy base. Oh. Ivy. And back in Cinema 4D, I'm going to merge in my object, and again make sure Z-axis isn't flipped, and it pops it straight on. The great thing about this is that it's not re-importing all the mesh, it's just only re-importing the geometry that has been created within IvyGen. And so if I just put this back to There we go. And that probably just needs a little bit of texture work to just add a transparent element to this leaf, but that's fine because within the program file, within the IvyGen texture set, you get a range of textures that you can just add, and so it's just going in and selecting the correct one. Which, do we have one for that? Well, I can fix that later. But all these textures are available for free with the Ivy generator, and it can create, as we've seen in this one, quite a convincing, if I just open my Redshift render view, quite a convincing effect. And I've just chosen Redshift just to demonstrate the fact that this works with third-party render engines as well as native ones, because all the textures, etc., are completely applicable to PBR workflows, whatever you want, and there are also normal textures as well. So IvyGen is a brilliant and free, let's not forget this is all free, method of creating Ivy quickly and easily for any 3D application. So this is Mike Griggs for 3D World, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial.